Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Game and City Mountains Wood of the Gaming Drag today. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Khemia. So y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. But really, I know his future as a prestigious scholar is almost guaranteed. At the very least, the stresses of this mission are now over for him. Now, it seems like I need to focus even more on interacting with these Chemians. It only makes sense considering the main mission is to expand Ad Astra's relations with Khemia. Where did you learn to do that, by the way? Vitorus eyes me curiously as I arrange the plate amongst the scattering of books and Chemian tech. And I mean, it's not difficult. You simply... It is very difficult for a wolf. Casual friendships only create opportunity for casual betrayals. However, he glances at me from under his bushy brow. It provides opportunity for the casual gathering of intelligence as well. I feel my stomach turn again. Despite knowing this would be part of my assignment as a diplomat, it doesn't mean I'm eager to do it. Still, the topic had never really come up, and with the departure date apparently nearing faster than expected, I had hoped that I would somehow be exempt. You want me to spy? I say it evenly, in a way I hope doesn't betray the hesitance and the lack of confidence I feel. Amicus would simply like for you to keep an eye on them. As we know by now, Chemian bluntness is a myth. We can never be sure of their true intentions. While the feelings of friendliness I have towards the Chemians are genuine, I remind myself that I did become their friend with the main purpose of personal gain, along with the knowledge that I would be reporting anything of importance they said. Academia is probably my greatest strength, Vitorus. I'm not sure. You accepted the position of a diplomat, thus you accepted the responsibility to gather intelligence for your Emperor. It is part of your many obligations now. Of course, teacher, but where do I even start? I'm not trained in espionage. Should there be more time for me to prepare for such a thing? Don't ask me. I am simply a part-time professor and full-time advisor to the Emperor on Chemian politics and culture. He only wanted me to prepare you mentally. Feels like a complete different discipline. Vitorus waves his paw again. The reason you're not formally trained in spying is because this type of spying is merely information gathering. Through individual relationships and larger networks. Makes me feel a bit better. I see. As far as I know, the real spies, who I imagine are being trained now, though again, I wouldn't know, come along after regular relations have been established. In the meantime, this casual espionage will do. Keeping your enemies close, as they say. And no, I'm not saying they're enemies personally, but you understand. I think as I chew on the bread slowly, the tangy sauce reminding me of how hungry I am. Do you feel you're up to the task? A target like Neferu should be a lucrative one. Cute. I smile. Of course, I did accept the position, like you said. However, Neferu is smarter than he'd have you believe. I doubt he'll give away anything important. Oh no, that jackal's head is full of sand. Even the Emperor has publicly said so. I know that it most definitely isn't, but I suppose that's why I'm the one who's meant to spy on him. And Brunus is even more guarded. He's a trained negotiator and seasoned diplomat. Vitorus laughs at me. With his informal and coarse nature, I doubt it, but remember, Neferu is the main target. Now I have to stop myself from laughing at my own mentor. Have you considered that they themselves could be plants meant to spy on us? That gives my teacher pause, and he shrugs. If they are, then there are some serious issues in the uppermost echelons of Chemian power. Besides, everyone knows the Pharaoh sent him here as a form of punishment. I mean, he hates his son so much he set him up to live in the same palace with a general from last war. A general that would unsurprisingly kick his balls into orbit. Ha! I sigh, feeling sorry for the jackal like I always do when I remember that event, immortalized by drone footage. A reminder that your meeting with the Emperor begins in approximately 10 minutes. Please be present and ready in Lecture Hall 1. Vitorus watches me as I eat the rest of the loaf of bread quickly. Also, start becoming more conscious of what you consume and consider some exercise. The jackal seems to lean toward fit body types. You're fine as you are now, but you're nearing the age where it might start to slip. That almost makes me choke. Hope my ears don't betray the embarrassment I feel at hearing my mentor say such things about my body. Especially considering he was the one to insist that I eat in the first place. Cutie. 10 minutes later, I'm in the lecture hall with Vitorus, along with Amicus, Neferu, Brunus, and Virginia. These bi-weekly meetings feel very different now that my two peers are gone. Me being the youngest, and least important part of the envoy is made all the more obvious. But aside from that, business progresses as usual. It's a rather casual affair, if not a depressing one due to Ad Astra's lack of progress with Khemia. Not much can get done at this point unless Khemian equivalents to Amicus show up on the stretch drive and make the decisions in person. That hasn't happened in months, and while Neferu is certainly important, he isn't as important as his brother the Vizier. So instead, we discuss how wolfish society and culture should approach its various Khemian counterparts. I'm paying fairly close attention, as the topic is about diplomatic language. How on Khemia one must always use words, never fists, as Khemians see the latter as a sign of weakness and lacking control. But then Amicus and Neferu argue for a while about how wolves must learn to separate diplomatic language from outright lies, which Amicus argues is the same thing. Especially as time changes, our needs change. Therefore, some promises cannot be kept. Yes, but one unkept promise can be enough to ruin a generation. An adversary, or even an ally that does not hold up their part of the bargain, no matter the change in times, is branded unreliable and relations are unlikely to progress in any form. Taking you. Water time. Alright, y'all, let us resume, shall we? Okay. I find myself agreeing with Neferu, even though I would never, ever say such a thing out loud. Especially not here. Earth Report number 134 has arrived. Shall I brief you on its contents, Emperor Amicus? Their argument interrupted. Amicus pauses, then gives a terse yes as a response, likely knowing the news would not be good. It rarely is when coming from Earth. Earth. The planet I'd only learned of last week, after being chosen along with the ongoing efforts to integrate its humans into the Galaxius. The human who had once resided in this palace is on his own mission, trying to bring the parents' vision to fruition. I'm curious about them, but this part of the mission is not for me to know, only having been introduced to the concept so Amicus can think about and discuss it freely. So I lower my eyes as the briefing begins, yet I'm still able to feel Amicus's mood darken. You will recall that 3 days ago, after the deaths of 3 American diplomats who came into contact with the human, it had been discovered that he is sporadically shedding aviapox virus. Unfortunately, there have been further developments, in which one of the diplomats visited an establishment that serves food and beverage. 4 British officials were infected by this diplomat and all subsequently perished in the past 2 days. The human has been placed in quarantine and talks between nations have come to a halt for the time being. The United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland have jointly threatened to withdraw from the talks if there are further casualties. However, there appears to be no further spread of the virus at this time, likely due to the rapid onset of symptoms and, so far, 100% mortality rate in humans. I don't understand many of the Earth words, but I understand enough. How can aviapox be so lethal to these humans? No other primates we know of have trouble with it. And these threats to end talks of being part of the Galaxius, how frustrating that 2 states can halt an entire world from progressing. I'm quietly relieved that the hard borders of our past are over now, at least. Amicus grumbles under his breath. How could they be so goddamn stupid? At first I wonder if he's talking about the humans, which I find unfair, then I realize he might be speaking of the parents, which I find terrifying. Then he raises his voice. Do we know of any sapiens that can contract aviapox and remain contagious after initial infection? No, Emperor Amicus. I'm not an expert on infectious diseases by any means, but considering how little we know of the effects of the virus on humans, anything could be possible. Yes, and due to parental negligence, he's in quarantine. I'm beginning to think we need to bring him back. Like, back here. Back home. Amicus almost shouts. If my fear of the parents wasn't obvious before, and now it is, my eyes wide open. The parents do work in the most mysterious... By making my human appear as if he is a bioweapon? What the hell are they playing at? We witnessed it. I remember a rustle of leaves and quickly steer my mind away from what I had heard on the bench. Virginia, who had been silent through most of the discussion, clears her throat. Unfortunately, Amicus, we know the parents are not able to foresee all things. We can only fulfill our own duties on our own plane of existence. Amicus takes a deep breath, sighing loudly. I know his relationship with the human is close. Everyone knows this based on what we saw during his fight with Cato, though how close is wildly different depending on who you ask. It's clear he's more rattled than I've ever seen him, though, his paws shaking on his knees. Speaking of which, you had something to announce to our envoy before the Empire as a whole, correct? Did I? Virginia sighs. Oh, right. I'm sorry, sister. The parental catastrophe on Earth had me slightly distracted. Again, I feel an ominous cloud over us, as if the parents themselves have entered the room in disapproval. As you all know, our discussions with the Vizier and Pharaoh have stalled over the past few months. To show Khemia that Astra is truly dedicated to an alliance. Amicus swallows as if he's having trouble getting the words out of his throat. I will also be joining the envoy despite the many hardships it will bring our empire. I do believe the benefits will outweigh the cost. Khemia has accepted my request.
Oh, so you'll be joining us. I'm surprised. Even I wouldn't have given in to Father's pompous and unreasonable demands so easily.
Having Amicus with us changes the dynamics of the entire mission, and while reassuring, knowing my Emperor will be there the entire time just makes it all a bit more stressful. Talks have been stalled for 3 months, Neferu. During this time, Virginia will fill the role of acting Empress. Now my muzzle is hanging open, if only because it's the first time I've heard such words put together. Beatrice visibly blanches while Neferu and Brutus barely react at all. I quickly snap my mouth closed.
Thank you, my Emperor. I'll perform my duties in a way that honors both the Empire and you, brother.
You always do, Virginia. This means we should all keep in mind the fact that departure could occur any day now, depending on when the ship arrives. I almost gasp and instead disguise it with a stifled cough. The last few meetings had indicated a fast-approaching departure, but the possibility that it could only be days, or even a day away, causes my heart to pound in my chest. I calm myself, remembering that my task is rather simple. No need to be anxious. At least on my tasks not involving Neferu, anyway. Now, I must be off to have a discussion with the parents once again, to make sure we're actually still on the same sort of track. It's dark by the time we're heading out. On the way, Amicus corners me to covertly ask me if I had a discussion with Beatrice, which I confirm. Then the Emperor glances over at Neferu, who's leaning up against a pillar. I take the hint, and as everyone else leaves, I approach the Jackal, suddenly feeling nervous. Likely because I have ulterior motives now, and that doesn't feel good, but I know if I perform my role well, I shouldn't be feeling any different at all. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and that notification bell, and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!